Friday the 10th October with the Industry Awards, the Accra International Conference Center. On Friday, 10th October, Theatre to the Time Awards. It's a star-studded night of glitz and glamour as we welcome the cream of Ghana's entertainment industry. The Television Broadcasting Television Awards Ghana is brought to you by Brighton.
This is Nane 4. She's thinking about how to cover her university education in the future. Mr. Sari is so confused about how to list his company on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Atta is a organizer and is wondering how to expand his business someday.
Do you want to buy shares on the Ghana Stock Exchange? Or probably sell your shares? Are you interested in investing in treasury bills? Have you been thinking about listing your company on the Ghana Stock Exchange? Talk to GN Investment today. You can reach GN Investment on 030-9788-3819.
Efwa's parents learned from GN Investment how they can invest money to pay for her university tuition. GN Investment helps Mr. Sari with market research, company valuation, and how to list his company on the Ghana Stock Exchange. GN Investment visits Atta and advises him on how to grow his small business.
At GN Investment, we proudly say that we invest with discipline.
For buying someone a phone, does God find reasons of giving you a
Machine love me.
Unnecessary party, following women, buying irrelevant stuff.
The secrets, if I should call it, I wonder if they are secrets. I don't think they are secrets.
I didn't have a list of things I wanted from a guy, but then it was just a connection. We just clicked.
that you want in a man, in your California love, California digger?
For me, I first look at physical here.
You know, it embraces and entails an entire person.
Who is forget? You don't read our Bibles?
Young adults, showing this and every Saturday at 5 p.m. and repeated on Wednesdays at 7 p.m.
Creativity, they say, is the spice of life. It is what we translate into art. Being artistic, therefore, is a necessity of life. Let's make it rich, let's make it exciting, and let's get creative to spice up life. Saturday at 9 a.m. and repeated every Sunday at 3 p.m. on First TV. Arts Afrique, spice up your life.
Welcome back to the first show on First TV. It's time for us to go to the latest segment.
Now I feel that this heart of mine is taking many fall. Sometimes the rain can turn into a waterfall. The prettiest things can come out of the coldest night. Yeah. And even with broken wings, sometimes you find your way to fly. It's time to be
motivation from Pablo for us this morning. You have to just make sure the things that you want to do, just make sure you do them. If you're willing to have them, kill yourself to make have them in a better way that you can. So that's by way of our motivation. Yes, the House was recalled, that's Parliament House was recalled for a few days to sit because of a loan that they want to pass. So we want to, of course, I'll come back. Let's just give you a brief of what happened in Parliament, but definitely we'll give you, a full video of it on Channel D and on First TV as well, so you can have it. But for now, here is a report from Parliament House yesterday.
Due to works on the expansion of the main chamber in Parliament that is yet to be completed, the 3-day emergency sitting moved to the International Conference Center. In a brief welcome statement, the Speaker, Right Honorable Doe Ajao, among other issues, updated the House on a report he has received on the progress of work on the expansion of the chamber. He also officially informed the House about the President's travel to the UN General Assembly and plans to continue to Dubai.
Members, I welcome you back to the House. I am indeed glad to see you were all well and in good spirits. I am aware that this recall respective programs and compel you to suspend duties relating to surgeries and other important matters within and outside your constituency. I am also conscious of the fact that many of you have not had sufficient rest during the recess, partly due to the pressure of work from your respective political parties, including the contest by candidates for election to national, regional, and constituency offices, as well as presidential primaries. As you have noticed, this meeting of the House is being held in a completely separate place from our usual chamber. For those of you long-serving members of Parliament, you will remember that this very meeting room was part of the facilities of the Accra International Conference Center, which housed the first Parliament of the Fourth Republic from January 1993 to July 1995. Honorable members will also recall that this House rose a few days earlier than normal at the end of the meeting this year. This was to provide the consultants and the contractors adequate time and space to undertake the project of reconfiguring the chamber in order to expand its seating capacity as well as integrate some modern electronic facilities in order to take advantage of the e-Parliament facility, which will reduce the cost of stationery and printing items. The expansion of the chamber's seating capacity would as well eliminate discomfort associated with accommodating a 270 member of parliament in a building, 275 member of parliament in a building designed for a 230 member parliament by the time the House reconvenes for the next meeting. Let me inform honorable members that in accordance with our pledge, the Chamber of Parliament is being reconfigured. This crucial assignment is being undertaken by Messrs. China State Housing Construction Limited, also the main contractor on the State House, that's the Job Season Tower Block project.
The outgoing Majority Leader, Honorable Dr. Benjamin Kumbo, in presenting the business statement for the emergency sitting, said the House will be days, among other businesses, lay the 13th report of the Appointments Committee, deliberate on the recomposition of the various committees of Parliament, and also look at the approval of some agreements for the construction of some feeder roads in the country.
Welcome back. So it was after that introduction and the reasons why the members were recalled for this emergency sitting. The speaker explained and talked about it, and then later, you know, the former majority leader took over from Benjamin Kumbo, once again becoming majority leader. That's Alvance Babin. So for time's sake, I will not actually bore you so much about it, but that's what happened briefly. But it didn't happen in the usual Parliament House. It took place. It was there's renovation works going on in Parliament, as said by the Speaker. Eric has joined me again. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's Post 24? How are you faring with Nyantechi? Anyway, I'm back here because I just want to, you know, get some information. We've had 2 days in a row of having the president of GFA on the commission, and a lot of things have been said. I'll pick your thoughts on it first of all.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Let me say a very good morning to our viewers. And honestly, yes, it is 2 days, 48 hours communicating with one single person. It tells you that is a lot. And I think today, man is taking up the city. Honestly, I've learned a lot, and I think from now, if somebody stands somewhere and start accusing the FA president of chop, as he used to say it, I think nobody can be got that person. One, from somebody we all know to be a Christian.
You know.
So we all know. Unless you just don't want us to go into such issues. That's all we all know. Because ever since I know the man Kusinyantechi, I've never seen him going to the books before. I've never heard somebody talking about Muslim prayer or whatever it is up to now until.
Or we're going to celebrate it to Adha. I expect him to be at the Independence.
No, but then Anya can also go there. You know, even though I speak the Muslim language, you know, I speak.
Yeah.
Go to my town. They know me very well, but I'm Muslim. So you can just go there and do such a thing. But the thing is, Annie, why should a lawyer by profession get into the box, swear an oath with something that he knows that is what he doesn't believe in?
Do you believe that he's a Muslim? Because he claims Muslim.
Cool. Problem with it. It's true that he is his first swearing in with the Quran 3 days ago was the first. Was better. Why yesterday did he swear with a Bible then?
Oh, I think I'm having some miscommunication here.
Yes.
Alfred was telling me he swore again with the Quran.
No.
Yesterday he swore with the Bible.
Do you know what I'm saying? That is one thing.
So he swore with
the Quran.
Then I'm confused.
The next day was the Bible.
Really?
Yes, Annie. You see.
So he swore with the Bible.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Exactly.
Even after admitting he's Muslim.
Good. And you see, that is one thing we have to look for. You know, this commission of inquiry is just a fact-finding commission. Apart from that, others are also learning. You know, if a lawyer by profession does such a thing, what are you trying to tell me as a layperson? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean the man doesn't respect the commission. The man doesn't respect the entire thing that the state has put him on. That is one. Or is it because he's too arrogant, he feels so big? Yesterday, if you look at the way you try to challenge I don't have a problem with you challenging, making a substantive argument, you know, constructive debate. I don't have a problem with it. But if you just go wayward, I don't have a problem with that one, especially when the commission was constituted by the state. That is one. Now let's look at the issues coming on board, especially the one with Sule Muntari and Moses Parker. When the president was narrating the incident, he said that they had a meeting with the players, and he spoke. One of his management members talking about that answer, the Liberty professor, also add up his word. Then came in Moses Parker. Whilst Moses Parker was speaking, Sule just get up and asked, "Who is this man?" So he, the FA president, decided to introduce. He said, "No, he is a management member. This is the man I introduced to you guys way back in Accra." Then Sule just walked straight to the man and started punching the man. Logic. There is something missing there. There is a missing there, which the FA president must tell us. We want to know how come a player decided to fight a management member at Brazil.
Just when his name was mentioned.
Exactly. Introduced. Then the person will just get up and go.
You think Kwesi was asking, I'm hiding something?
Of course. That is what I think. And
I mean, I can't wait for the boys to appear before the commission.
That is what we were expecting. Now let's go to talking about figures here. We're talking about money. That is the main reason why this commission was set up.
Yeah.
Now you sent a budget for 7 people. At the end, it was only 5 who benefited. So the 2, where are they?
Who benefited from the 2?
Exactly. And where is the money? You get what I'm saying, honey? You see, we shouldn't just think that it is the taxpayers' money. Everybody can, you know, just do whatever he wants with the taxpayers' money. Others shouldn't feel like they are above the law. I can't remember when this commission was being set up. There were so many hula balloons that FIFA says that, FIFA said that. And I sat on Sports 24. I said, let them bring the FIFA letter with FIFA signature. Let's see.
Yeah.
FIFA don't have time for such things. You see, we're talking about mishandling of funds here.
In his revelations, there was a point he made that within that period when he was saying they don't receive the money, their parents' fee, they were not going to pay. FIFA intervened and said FIFA was going to pay, but the boys disagreed that they don't want FIFA to pay. How FIFA said I will pay, I don't want.
FIFA said give us the account and the contract agreement with the boys. We are ready to pay. And the boys will tell FIFA no.
How is that possible?
That is it. That is it. Can you tell FIFA no? You dare not. And you dare not. You know what I'm saying?
What did
now,
you do?
There was an interesting revelation that as of February, he has communicated with the boys, and the boys has agreed $100,000 as of February. Now, a month to the tournament, he, the president of the FA, sent a budget of $82,000. You agree with them as of February on $100,000 Agreed. Now, a month to the tournament, you set a budget of $82,000. What for? You get what I'm saying? I mean, so I think, this commission, I think some of us, it has helped us a lot. We're still learning. Now, tomorrow, if you hit the street and you see somebody, well, you know, Asumesi at this era did this and did that to Ghana. Asumesi that's the nation at heart. And if I come to what the man said yesterday, he tells you that our players, to me, if I have the opportunity, I will sack every single player from the national camp.
From the team, the entire team.
The entire team. From the captain, the coach, right down to the ball boy.
Do you believe that we are pampering the boys too much?
Not pampering ourselves, but they are not patriotic. They don't have the nation at heart.
The boys or the officials?
The boys. And you know what? You need to sacrifice for your nation.
I think the officials also don't have that.
It depends.
If
an official who invited the boy to work for you cannot control that boy, what does it mean? If the boys are fighting for $100,000, why should an official to benefit from $100,000? You said you want 82,000. Agreed. The boys said they want it. So why won't we give them the 100 and then you take your 82? The boys are demonstrating for 100, and then you said then we should give you 200. It means you know something about the demonstration. You get the point I'm coming from. So to me, now you serve the nation. You know, take care of you. You played on the nation's ticket, blaster on the nation's ticket. Mind you, that is where every single player, enrich his CV. Playing at the World Cup, that is where every single player wants to go there. I am saying that, Annie, let's put a budget of $5,000 appearance fee and let's see, they will still cover it. Because it is a platform every single player wants to be there. Talking about the World Cup, that is the highest platform.
Yeah.
So, if you think you want...
And as a country, we help you fly you up to the highest level of playing for the nation.
How can you call somebody, come and play football, let's say, Kudjasa of Juventus, come and play football for a nation and then lose? No. Come and play and win. You pay the man an appearance fee, at the same time paying a winning bonus. It's possible. We want you to come and win, not to come and lose. If it is only losing, we'll just pick somebody on the street, Sasu, Fletcher, and go and play so that we lose. If that is losing that we won win, that is why we invited you. We'll give you an appearance fee.
Yeah.
We have a winning bonus again.
For me, I don't even have a problem with whether they go and lose or win, but the attitude towards winning or losing is what we have to look at, and the monetization of every activity that's going on within the country.
Players from Coast Division 1, Division 2, Premiership, so that we give them the ITC to travel outside. What are we benefiting from them?
Yeah, but although which is a question.
The nation must benefit from this boys. We are paying huge money to this boys, yet there is no trophy, yet there is no, please.
Talking to Reverend Osei Kofi, we know that there are times when you were playing, then there was nothing like this appearance fee and things like that. They will even tell you that when you win,
they decide to bring the word for like that appearance fee because they want that money must go into somebody's pocket. They don't want to come with the money, do something with the money to the nation. They just don't want it. So let's blood something
to milk.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's not like appearance.
But I will let you go right now. But how do you make of the apology that was demanded? In fact, it wasn't demanded, but at the point he had to apologize for accusing the commission of being biased.
Sorry.
I mean, you said his normal display at its highest. I mean, as we've known him.
You see, that is one thing I don't want the man to know. To do, actually, you should know, one, he is a public figure. Two, he is the president of the FA. Three, by profession. So if he's talking to his colleague lawyer, he should know the kind of words to use, how to,
approach
exactly.
I
mean, if you just use a radio, whatever it is, to accuse your colleague, I think it is not fair. A lay person like me has to do such a thing for me. But then I think it's not fair. So, he apologizing was one of the best things to do. But then, for someone to tell you that, apologize
before you did,
I don't get it. You should know that I've said the wrong thing. I've made the wrong thing. Go there, apologize yourself for people to you realize it yourself. But don't let somebody tells you go and do it.
Unless you don't know the tenets of the profession, because of course they call themselves my letter.
I realized it was because of the Chief Justice, Justice Domefe. That is why he decided to apologize. I wouldn't have done it.
Because it's Moses. Anyway, I will leave you here. Thank you so much for that analysis. But we'll continue to follow through and see how.
Honestly, today I'm going there again, and I'll jot down things.
Great.
I said I want us to talk about the figures here.
Yeah.
You see the money involved. That is the tax money.
I will make sure we do that tomorrow because it's entertainment. We have to measure with sports. You know I love my sports, right? Eric Jesse is a member of Sports 24. Thank you for your time. After this break, I'll be back shortly with my. We'll still continue with the analysis of the IMF. We're hearing that the what do you call it? Our salaries, wages. So let's look at some that I mean as far as IMF negotiations are concerned. I'll be back shortly.
The Television Awards Ghana 2014. Who rules the airwaves? Who takes over television in Ghana? With 100% public voting, you decide.
Well, First Digital TV indeed is near you. We are moving from T1 to T2.
To vote for Annie Ifwa as the most popular television show of the year, text TAG D19 to 1406. The Television Awards Ghana 2014, promoting core values in television broadcasting.
If you want quality TV that will make your family always very happy, First Digital TV, First Digital TV for your family. We give you quality premium digital TV.
First Digital
TV you can afford. Always there is a channel for every member of the family. So everybody keep watching First Digital TV.
and always have some fun. We have local and international news, Parliament, Cinemax African movies, Sports 24, Emmanuel TV, GTV, CNN, Al Jazeera, Planet Kids for Kids, and many other channels.
First Digital, the Ghanaian in you.
Madam, why do you have to do that?
Do what?
Why do you have to throw the bottle out of the car?
Oh, please.
You could have kept it in the car.
Are you going to mind your own business and drive, or you're going
Go and pick it up.
I'm paying for your service, okay?
It's the one for fire, by your car. I'm not moving.
Let us be each other's keeper and keep our city and our nation clean for a healthier Ghana. This message is by kind courtesy of the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development and supported by the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association.
This is Nane Foa. She's thinking about how to cover her university education in the future. Mr. Sari is so confused about how to list his company on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Atta is a organizer and is wondering how to expand his business someday.
Do you want to buy shares on the Ghana Stock Exchange? Or probably sell your shares? Are you interested in investing in treasury bills? Have you been thinking about listing your company on the Ghana Stock Exchange? Talk to GN Investment today. You can reach GN Investment on 030-9788-3809.
Efua's parents learned from GN Investment how they invest money to pay for her university tuition. GN Investment helps Mr. Sari with market research, company valuation, and how to list his company on the Ghana Stock Exchange. GN Investment sits Atta and advises him on how to grow his business.
At GN Investment, we proudly say that we invest with discipline.
Something in my mind, I wanna talk about it, feeling deep inside, cannot suppress it, this must be love, I'm not searching no more, I found the one for me, yeah, you are my destiny, you are my destiny, I want to be the one you seek in the morning, before you go to sleep at night, I just want to be the one you holding, I never want to see you cry. Girl, you know that I'll come running when you call from 1,000 miles, yeah. I said, see, what more can I say? I just wanna be there. I just wanna.
Yeah, welcome back to the first show on First Digital TV on the channel First TV. Naziru Alhaji Naziru Mohammed is a member of the ruling government, and Mr. Eko Jones is a member of the Progressive People's Party as well. We're still expecting Kamal Dean, who is Nasara coordinator of the MPP, to join us. But for now, let's just start off the discussion. And we have had a series of the IMF analysis and its discussion that is already ongoing between governments and officials of the IMF. And you know, remember I had hosted the former Deputy Finance Minister, who's currently the Deputy Trade Minister, on the platform to find out how it all began and the issues, also details that went into the decision to go to IMF. We've had him twice. Issues of discipline has come on the table. Issues of conditions that will be thrown into air for us to also launch onto it and make sure that we carry them on as conditions that we have the IMF officials. We're still going on with the analysis. We've touched on the political angle, but we still have to do more because there's more to talk about since the negotiation is still ongoing. And so we are continuing with the analysis today. But let me remind you that on the media publication there was a story. And let me remind you by reading. It says that Ghana's Finance Minister, Mr. Tepe, on Thursday, 18th September, allegedly attacked the Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Oil Distribution, that's the CBOD, Senyor Hosi, at a meeting between governments and the International Monetary Fund representatives currently in the country. Now, the Independent newspaper reported that government sources told them that the debate between the two at a point got words, while IMF officials and other members of the government delegation looked on in utter disbelief. Now, one IMF official was said to have expressed and outrage at the development describing the minister's conduct as uncalled for, the Independent newspaper reported. And the seeming drama of disagreement between the two, which resulted in an open attack, began when the issue of forex laws differentials came up for discussion. Remember, these CBDs have been questioned a number of times on all their pricing mechanisms and stuff like that. Still have actions, although the negotiations are still ongoing. But there's a rejoinder to this particular story from Senyor Hosi. So we refer to the media report of an altercation between the Honorable Minister of Finance and the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors. And we do acknowledge the holding of a meeting with the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, that's the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, the other governmental petroleum agencies, as the invitation of the Ministry of Finance to discuss fiscal challenges facing the petroleum downstream sector. Discussions held in the meeting were privileged and its details must remain as such. But calls with the Minister and other officials present a matter of problems between our industry, the economy as a whole. We do not consider any part of the discourse as an attack on us. The CBOD, per the nature of its operations, has a good working relationship with the CEO of the chamber. He has a professional and cordial relationship with Honorable Minister and his officials at Setebe. So the relationship remains same before, during, and after the meeting. We therefore wish that any suggestions that seek to pitch the CBOD against the minister, while executing our legitimate mandate on behalf of our respective organizations, be disregarded by all. Thank you. God bless you. Or God bless our homeland, Ghana. Signed, Senyor Hosi, who is the CEO of the CBOD, that is the bulk oil distribution company. Welcome, gentlemen. A lot of English I spoke here.
As usual.
It's technical, and I'm sure you help me explain that. But first of all, let me ask all of you, and I'll start off with you, government in power. What issue is hitting you the most? What do you want to say to us this morning before we kickstart our discussions on issues on our table?
As in general?
In general, yes.
In general.
Yes.
Well, it's one of the things you have raised. Because it's becoming, no, not the IMF issue. The issue with Senor Osei and the bulk oil supply, distribution. The fact that it is becoming one too many attempts at making sure that we dent the image of our own government. It has wider implications on the country, the economy, our social status. If we go internationally, some of these things we should carry it and do them with decorous, so that in the end, Ghana would benefit from it. But if we want to hide under certain parochial interests, to say that because we are journalists, we want to publish whatever it is, and then skew it such that it dents the image of government, I don't think we are doing this country any good.
Well, which issue hits you the most? For me, the one that hits me the most is Justice MFS Commission.
Yeah, well, Justice MFS is nice, but there are a lot of things that are hitting us these days. Doomsaw, more, and they are putting up the light and you are paying the bills for it. It's a new innovation, perhaps another achievement for the NDC. It's the only country where you can pay bills and your lights are put off. And then they tell us that God is the one who works at the VRA.
But they are not put off all the time.
Well, when I was coming from Kaswa, it was put off.
But you pay for the one that they put on.
Yeah, but then now you are getting more doomsaw, and according to the PURC, it's not guaranteeing that when you pay more, you are going to get better service. And so, what are we talking about here in the first place? Back to Sonia Hosi and the Setekbe's tango. I mean, it's the usual, hypocrisy which we use to cover things. Like, let's speak the truth. There's an issue between Boss and Ministry of Finance. So come up, you see, we are not doing ourselves any good, constantly pretending that there is nothing happening. We live in a country where it's like Serbia country be assigned tribune, it's only a dry, and we are living in it. Every day, every time, we try to use a new type of English language to clarify, and then we blame the journalist. When the graphic reported that lady appropriated her office, it booms and horns to get this woman finally to resign. Because I'm sure it was an embarrassment to President Mahama while he was in the United Nations. People are, you think the international people are not watching? They are watching. I don't think that if a Daily Guide or whichever newspaper of this magnitude in such matter.
But the woman, has she resigned yet?
Yes, I heard she's resigned finally. There's a rumor.
It's a rumor. True. We have to confirm
or not.
That.
Because it took a bit of her to resign from when she became to resign from the board of Ghana Commercial Bank when she became the boss of SHAD. And so I don't know what we are glossing over. This usual polish on debt business that we have been doing all this while. But those people are responsible for one of the biggest debts we've ever received in this country since independence. Why didn't the minister also co-sign this damage control business? Why didn't the minister also sign and then all of them shake hands and then we make peace on TV but the thing you wait 4 hours. You see, I'm sorry, but you see sometimes the government in power and subsequent governments have felt that Ghanaians are stupid. All of them are. Some may be, as we told you respect. But it's time to call a spade a spade. Our country is slowly grinding to a halt. That's a fact. Whether IMF, you are taking more loans, no industry are out there. Only, this is in the whole world, for God's sake. But people wake up and the first thing they think about is food. If we had a country that was working properly, people would think about innovation, not what to eat. And then at the end of the day, we say, oh, it was nothing. We have a letter like this to come and say, it is I was expecting the letter on the Ministry of Finance letterhead and go see co-signing.
You want to cut off?
Does this
especially when talk that doesn't make sense. What is cheap?
Are you saying that his talk doesn't make sense?
Interest in what I'm saying. I'm not saying so. Those are not my words.
I thought that is cheap. It's not that doesn't make sense. Nonsense is cheap. What I'm saying makes a lot of sense to millions of Ghanaians who are getting better. So like they tell us that God is the one who operates sites.
Okay, but the questions he asks are very valid. If you release such a rejoinder,
are we blind people in this country?
Okay, if you release,
let's leave that to the viewers.
Oh, a lot of viewers will make a struggle. People will call you and tell you that what you're saying is rather the talk that is cheap.
We are talking about the Senior Hosi and his organization and the reported attack on him at a meeting, and this is a man coming out to state categorically that to him he didn't see anything like that. I mean, if we want to continue to believe, even the person who has been supposedly attacked, saying that this is what happened and it's a fruitful discussion, and we continue to believe that you believe there has been attack and then we must find solution.
That's been reported in the newspapers.
I know that the newspapers have reported a lot of things. I know one thing for a fact. When we talk about this group, the Senior Hosi, they act as the players and the referees at the same time.
And then we know that there are a lot of criticisms that has come against this.
Correct. So if the issues that they are, and the man himself, this is not the minister coming out to say that, look, nothing like that happened, because he's being accused. It is the accused who came out to say that, look, this is what happened. This is what happened, and these are the facts of the matter.
We have no case.
If we want to continue to discuss it, that is one point I made earlier on.
This is at the core of some of the IMF positions. This quarrel is at the core. It's at the core of the reason why we are going begging for loans when we can do things on our own.
Because we have one of the biggest.
These are the reasons why.
Okay,
and it became an embarrassing spectacle in front of the IMF officials, realizing that the people who are coming for their homegrown facility don't even know what kind of homegrown policy they are. Because here we are, one of the people who are making government clique is getting another financer. I have known of all the kind of people in the NDC, Mr. People, I think that if the NDC didn't have, the government itself would have collapsed. The man is taking a lot of flack even from NDC members. You know, because he's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to be apolitical. He's trying to do his job as a professional. A lot of people have called for his resignation. And these are some of the things, some of the nasty embarrassments that he has to encounter. Because of this cartelism, cronism, schoolboy, my brother is a... Let's talk, let's speak the truth. And let me fight for here for once.
I believe that if we want to continue this way, we'll show a great disrespect.
A lot of people are very angry in this country when we are getting started. Then when you come and say that
some of us are.
You can say what you want to do. I just have to ask you.
We have a lot of respect for our viewers.
Join the party. Of course, I do. You don't respect your viewers by telling them failed.
And we allow one person to talk about.
Okay, let's allow. Let's respect Thank you. Your camera, right? Thank you. It is the same IMF situation that has.
That's why Sonia Hosi was quarreling with the minister in the.
So your show has been hosted.
Has gotten us here. IMF. I've had a couple of discussions with a number of people or stakeholders involved in the situation when it comes to the current economic situation that we find ourselves while we are supporting the IMF. And I haven't had your take, so the first thing I always will take first before I throw in my questions on IMF, the necessities and why we have to go in for them.
You see, certainly we have to look at how we can solve problems. If we all admit, and as the government himself admits, that indeed our economy is bedeviled with challenges. Some people have called various names and have termed it a country or economy that is grinding to a halt and a whole lot of things. But to take the government and the exchequer, the finance minister, they said is a challenge that we can address. And in your attempt to address it, you look at all the avenues, options available to you, then you make best use of the available options. I think one of the options as a member country of the IMF, and our contribution is to also tend to them, like many countries have done and have come out of their problems. Now, what has led us to this situation we find ourselves? I think the government has said time and again that there are 4 major factors that has led us into where we are today. One of them being the fact that, you see, our economic fundamentals from time immemorial historically has remained something we need to re-look into to find out ways we can put it on track, just so it becomes, what do you call it, it becomes in tandem with the world standards today. Now, apart from that is the fact that the government has seen also the wage bill that is killing this economy is very high, and we need to do something about it. We need to find a way to sustain our single spine salary structure. I know this very well because the government has maintained and consistently this is line in all their statements that the single spine salary structure is not something we should be thinking of abolishing. We should think of sustaining it, and that for me is positive. And then we also have the issue with our trade imbalance. Exports, imports, sorry, that far exceed our exports, and this certainly would have a problem in every economy. Beyond that also is the fact that we have looked at donor agencies and the international financial market for now that we have attained the status of a lower middle income country. So there is a need for us to also understand this. Declare our country here, we will not get a fee. Some of the loans that we can attract will now attract higher interest and what do you call it, monetization period will also be shorter, expecting that we keep to our standards. Then finally, we talk about the fact that the country itself needs to also look at how we manage our expenditure, and then see to it that we do due diligence and also do value for money expenditure. Now, all this put together would demand that the government would have to find ways of dealing with it. Now, if we take one by one all these issues that I have raised, you will realize that indeed the government is not silent about it. The government is not being hypocritical and adamant to the effect that our economy is so good and then we don't need solutions. You look at you even look at the economic structure and the budget, and you realize that the government is putting in place mechanisms. Some of them I will talk about here is the integrated financial management system to ensure that we have a clear view and how and when to spend our money. Some of them is also the fact that we are looking at the homegrown solution in itself. Is a whole package that we think we can put this together to solve our own problem, because if we are part of the problem, we should be part of the solutions. This government has taken bold steps. One of them is the fact that, look, coming to Ghanaians, to be very frank with Ghanaians, and this time I'll salute the ordinary Ghanaian, that look, we have to pay realistic prices for whatever we buy, especially fuel and energy. And Ghanaians have admitted and are paying such realistic prices. One thing that is left is that we should be asking ourselves that the single spine salary structure that we intend to sustain, how do we get returns from the single spine salary structure? We should be getting the output in tandem with the input we put in.
The other time that the deputy minister was on the platform, the same question was actually put, because the single spine seemed to come across as one of the very hefty situational challenges that is putting so much pressure on our budget. But the problem that we're facing as a country is the fact that we don't have in place proper structures that monitors input as you request. And we're paying without even any measurement as to what input has been put in place and then what output it's actually requires or it's needed for us to. So we have to put in those structures to appraise even, you know, public workers before we do any kind of rationalization. Debbie.
You seem to have taken the cat out of the bag, and let us be very, very frank with ourselves. If you're given First Digital TV to manage and you think they are problems, you intend to manage them, is that the time where you'll be adding more people, more resources? No. I think it is the time to do a critical analysis of the situation, to find exactly what it is. Then you can move forward. Then you can be said to be a very good manager of the economy. And that is exactly what this government is doing with its homegrown solution. If we take the IMF dealings and the fact that there are news reportage about, I don't know if we're coming to the main IMF issue. This is just for me to talk about my idea. Is that the case?
Yeah, sure.
We will come to the main issue. Fine, we will come there and then we'll give several explanations. But in the whole, I think this government has put in place mechanism and would like Ghanaians to come and support so that we solve the problem. Because if Ghana becomes a better place, and I've always maintained, as Ghanaians, Ghana is the only country we can live without passports. So we must do everything within our powers to ensure that Ghana becomes the rightful place. Ghana takes its rightful place in the world economy, so that we all can pride ourselves as being contributors to the success of Ghana.
Right. The Progressive People's Party is actually criticized heavily going to IMF and not seeing that because of funds that you take since IMF started happening.
Yeah. At the second anniversary of the PPP, Dr. Ibu clearly expressed the need to actually look at how we as a nation are running, the way we are running. Are we a functional nation? We talk about single span salary structure. This is a baby of Dr. Tapakwesi Ibu himself. That was left with the NPP administration. President Kufuor did what he could with it, it wasn't implemented. President Mills, on assumption of office, let's say, took the bull by the horn and decided to implement it. Even with some political gymnastics by carrying policemen to parliament and expressing the issue that they are going to really make sure everything is fine, and condemned the NPP's lousy administration and so on and so forth. Now, we are here today because we are blaming salary, the single span salary for being a very big heavyweight bill. Dr. Ibu suggested that he is still alive at the second anniversary. If anybody in government has a problem with a single span salary structure, just place a call. So, Dr. Ibu, how do you expect this to? Because you see, the salary structure cannot work properly without proper statistics. And proper statistics can only be generated if we have the full use of the National Identification System, which is also another baby of the
which we don't have.
Which we don't have. And that is what is causing the bloated pay packet, the ghost names in all our payrolls. As we speak currently, the government even doesn't have a proper statistic of how many citizens are in this country. And if you go to any advanced country, which our president is in one of those, when you get in there, they know you are in. When you are out, you know you are out, because they have systems in place. I keep saying this, that Ghanaians have the taste for the latest technology, but we don't have the taste for the latest thinking. If we had this Ghana card, it could solve the problem of Ani not being Ani or being Ani, because it's biometric. You realize that when the passport switched from manual to biometric, the business of this institution where people were replacing pictures with names in passports, that thing ceased. Yeah, we need to have an exact of the statistics of the people that we have in this country. Not that when you are making a budget, you can plan. I was talking to this guy about something that you see the fundamentals have been bad since whatever. President Mahama told us that he was the luckiest vice president since Adam in this country, because when President Mills was in power, he actually was the one who was doing all the work. And then they say, oh, we have to look at the homegrown policy. That homegrown policy, I asked myself, I've made my fufu and a bank wine. I put in precursor, I put in ginger, I put in everything. Then I come and say, oh, honey, taste it and see if it is good for me enough to eat. With my own, that's the idea of the IMF. At the end of the day, people say it's about technical assistance.
No, it's about having homegrown policies in place already, and then the IMF comes in with their own policies, and you tell them, well, I have already.
But it's coming at the cost of having people to be taken out of, because there's supposed to be a big payroll. And of course, if you go to the ministry, I know that the ministry worked there for more than 15 years, keep reducing their the people who are there at once. You take a business in, take it easy, you know. Some of them are, look, can you imagine, recently I guess that the Black Stars situation, the commission sitting. One of the gentlemen came to say that they are paid money to even dead people. Openly, Mr. Jima. And so you ask yourself that if in the GFA, which even seems to our government is paying dead people, imagine the ministries. That is always, to add to that, we always have insisted that the 2012 elections took a chunk of money out of the government exchequer to fund campaign.
You haven't confirmed that, that's just an allegation.
Well, alleged. But you see, what is the reason why we have that big hole? Is it for capacity? Is it capacity? If we had to take $600 million for capacity building, why are we so bereft of ideas? Because capacity build your stomach and your Land Cruiser. You know, the capacity is supposed to build the mind. And how much when? 2012. 2 years later. And then at the end of the day, they said, because other people. So finally, the IMF. What fundamentals? The fundamentals are this very simple. We started as an agrarian nation exporting raw materials and then added to our natural resources of gold, diamond, bauxite, manganese in the raw form. Until we are able to bring in industries that will refine our our products, like for example, Doc is thinking about putting in a gold refinery, so that at least all the gold that is exported in ingots raw out of there can be turned into jewelry, so that people at least would buy it here for cheaper. It's taken out there, done with some things, and then brought back here and sold. And so if you have to take, go like on this Abofu Street, all the way from the beginning of the N1 to the end of it, you find second-hand cars, second-hand mattresses, second-hand sofas. We are living a second-hand life. Because there's no industrial base. Have you ever seen any nation, the Germans, the Americas, where people have babies and created American export and so forth, including all? Are they doing buy and selling? They are doing industry. What we are using here, the equipment and things, everything is made out there. They are producing. If you don't produce, don't tell me that you are going to Ghana, is going to come like China. China is not joking.
So your point is, going to IMF is neither here nor there.
Oh, it's
the policies are very obvious. What we have to do are very obvious. We should know.
Of course. I mean, look at the country where we have the finest doctors, PhD holders, emeritus, Professor Kominini of wherever it's supposed to be. This the go there. There's the doctor, including founders and founders' wives. They all have doctorates. Why are we suffering?
Why? Let me ask you a question. Why is it that we're facing challenges with SSS implementation? Doctor is there. They haven't approached doctor.
It says that.
What is stopping him from also speaking out?
Well, of course, it's an Ethiopia policy where even when the MPP talked about it, they said, "Oh, you know it already." This is what a doctor has seen to report to the IMF. Why should they even come to doctor? Fine. Doctor did wrong. He didn't do it right. But somebody heard it. The distance between Jubilee House and they can send a messenger from your Jubilee House. So, Doctor, you speaking on your anniversary. The presidency is meeting next week or so. Let's discuss how the singles finds out. How difficult it is.
Can we break that chance and try and do a thing like that? No. What is wrong with consulting?
No, all-inclusive government.
You see, Anne, this once again is very debatable, because you see, you take His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and his policies and how he's running this country. You realize that he's taking people from all walks of life, people from outside of the NDC, people, I mean, who we can count today. Some of them start adverting to indicate clearly that they are not members of the NDC. They don't know whether they will now join. We can make a typical example of the education minister today, who is a professional on her field, who has had it all in education. Hi to the vice chancellor of the university, the first female vice chancellor in this country. We can talk about people like the minister for women, gender, and Nana Oyelita, and a whole lot of them. All these are coming together so that we have, you know, different way of doing things. We encompass all the brains we have in this country, just so we can achieve our objective. So to say that and the president himself, by his demeanor, has not shown that he's adamant or antagonistic to the opposition, in spite of everything.
Yes, but he's faced very tedious challenges, and he needs help, not just within his government, but outside government, where we can tap from the intelligence of others who are not within government. And when we talk about all-inclusive, I don't think that we're talking about appointing people to become ministers, but just having them involved or included in the whole discussion.
I've cited examples to you, people who are outside of the NDC, because if you talk of political party winning power, it is forming government with its people. And I've cited example for you, for people who have sat adverting to indicate clearly that they are not members of NDC before they are appointed. Beyond that also, we can cite examples of people like MPNI, the known MPP member. I've forgotten his full name. Something Kwame Mpini, not the chief of staff.
Not the chief of staff.
Not the former chief of staff. And I can cite example of all those people. And I've even heard somebody like the former finance minister in the person of Osabuma. It's about Ghana, where the party clearly stopped him from doing that. I've listened to Dr. Oseakoto, who minority ranking member on finance, states is being nationalistic in some of the issues that they have raised. All this come together would help us move forward. However, you can't move forward when people, main objective is to be looking at elections and think that if you are able to succeed, they will pull you down. I find it very difficult to believe also that the country that has invested in some capacity building, and then we have, as my friend just said, that if you invested in such capacity, why do we have bereft of ideas?
600 million.
Why do we have bereft of ideas in this country? And if we don't have ideas, and we even invested in capacity building, who else are we going to cause? Who else?
But it's a good question he asked. If we're spending millions of dollars and Ghana cedis on capacity building, yet we still come out and bereft of ideas, then it's not possible. Then when you go to the capacity building conference and stuff, what do you do?
And so if the country and whatever we have done seems to suggest that we don't have ideas, who else are we calling now? And we, the same people, are saying that we should call other people to come in to help. Who else? I mean, that is where the problem is. That is where you have to know that in governance, it is a different thing altogether. It is practical, it is pragmatic, it is real.
Which is why you say talk. Which is why you say talk.
Because you see, when you are faced with such situation, you have to take the best decision that will have maximum impact in the success of our dear country Ghana. And that is what we are doing. We are making sure that we can put everything that we have together to ensure that we succeed. A president, no matter how he feels or thinks, will not come to power and think that I don't care whatever happened to this country. I don't care the legacy I will leave. Everybody is putting in his effort. It is left for us to think about the fact that if we stand outside and criticize and make certain remarks, and we are given the opportunity to come sit and then dialogue with like-minded people, and we refuse, we say that we are doing the best for our country. We are not. We are scoring political points. We are not doing the best for our country. We are not scoring for political points. You understand what I'm saying? So in the whole, I am saying that with these IMF issues, the government has come in with its homegrown solution, and the processes, the idea is explicitly what's drawn for everybody to see. This is what we are negotiating with the IMF. We're not coming with our bare arms. We're coming with something. So come in, let us dialogue and see. What usually the whole idea of this IMF interaction, it is to get the international community repose confidence in our homegrown solution, for which the IMF has said separately. I have heard most of the IMF kingpin made remarks to the effect that our homegrown solution is something that can achieve results, and that is reposing confidence in our economy. Investors are looking at Ghana, and we can tell from the Eurobond that we float in the market. We can tell also from the people who are coming to this country to invest. If we are talking about manufacturing, this government has done a yeoman's job. We take from Kwame Nkrumah, where we have the Kumasi shoe factory, we talk about the Commander Sugar factory, we talk about many other, the Shell, whatever it is today, it is being revamped. Money is being sunk into
I will
ensure that we are able to. So the government is not silent.
I wish there was an award for the National Turkish Chief Award. I would have nominated President Mahama to be the first recipient.
Are you saying that you also not see the effort he's putting
to
revamp the
for revamping? We have cholera. It is risen to 17,000 cases. It's a basic Second World War disease in a millennium city, which our mayor has just gone to receive a top award. National Alliance, International Alliance of Mayors. Can you look at me in the face? Anybody sitting in what is it? Mr. Okuvanako deserves that award. If talk is not cheap, can we sit in this country and abandon the roads? For example, that has gone. You see, they say Suhum Sawam Road is an MPP road, but people pass that place to Bonda, Tamale, and those who cannot fly. It's only a few people who fly in this country. We're microcosming 0.00% of 1% of the people who are flying. Those of us who are sitting in the trotro on a daily basis going there, when talk is not cheap, would we go and sit in Parliament? Parliament will reopen and they bring a budget for $850 million for other $1 million for other or cities for other roads, while these ones are abandoned. If talk is not cheap, we live in a country where talk is cheap, and that's the reason why we have to do our own soup and go and give it to somebody to inspect. We are not going to be open enough to tell people the truth because stock is cheap.
On that note, I want to read this one so that we all have an idea and we getting into the situation where Deputy Minister for Finance, Madam Mona Porte, has fund will change the focus of Ghana's 2012-2015 budget. She, however, admitted that the timing for presenting the budget next month could be affected by the ongoing negotiations with the IMF. Now, the IMF has already seen our homegrown, that's what she says, policies, and they have already seen the GSGDA, that's the Ghana Shared Growth Development Agenda, which is the anchor for this budget, and are already in agreement with us. Told, and it says that she also explained what they're asking for more are for more, and they are in discussions with us is front loading some of these measures that doesn't change the plan itself.
President Mahama, if anybody's doing this, he should report who is working. You know. West. Ours is advises you to read. And then you realize that the king is dancing naked. Seriously, as we live in this country, things, you know, if you have yes men around you. Oh yeah, he should go to the ground. The last time, it's a pathetic sight for me to see my president. President, our Excellency, His Excellency, the President, who on the world scale ranks with Barack Obama, ranks with James Cameron, ranks with leaders in the world, having himself to come down to the silt gutters, while whose data he was distilling was on TV3, no comment, dancing Mr. Groove. It tells me that things are, you know, this big English, and when it comes up with it, now the budget is going to be delayed. Because timelines are not being met.
Because the negotiations ongoing, we're still expecting that the IMF will end the negotiations.
We were expecting that
end of next month.
We were expecting that on a daily basis. When today we have had this and that and this and that, because everybody is looking at that specific IMF regulation that is going to come. Seized from the house. Have daily update. I don't know if they have, but if there's today,
because I have had
discussed
4 or
this
5 series of discussions.
Yeah, and a lot of people are being kept in the dark.
Yeah.
As exactly say, I'm a phone about. Then our radio stations in the local language are not doing anything. Where they are and no, Ghanaians need to know. I use public transport a lot. And I can tell you, there is a general discontent in this country. But the question they ask is, I'm telling you people, we have this, the PPP has got the solutions to the problem. It's a particular campaign platform. But Dr. Indum is alive. He is working. If for nothing, the man has been able to establish over 20 companies. This is a practical working person who is employing. A man who can do it on the little scale, can do it on a big scale. He's pedigree everywhere. We want solutions to the problems. Fine. If they are going to call another CMT to dialogue, meeting, and so on and so forth, they should. I think it's time for them to stop the game. You know, this 1955 politics of spreading cloth on the floor for people to walk on, that kind of mental. People are growing in this country. And you see, if we do not, between now and the end of 20, we don't see anything tangible. And say that we have solutions to the problem. I'm sure we'll work out and people will take cutlasses and chase us. The MPP is already started by sharpening their cutlasses on the campaign. Because, you see, power is very powerful. You can use it to change the destiny of people. All the lives of Ghanaians are currently in the hands of our president and the executive. And the best that his people can do for him is only help of Accra. Can you imagine Barack Obama digging the gutters of Clinton? Or the German
Prime Minister was cleaning the gutters. He was only setting an example.
But so where are the people who have been employed to do the work with our exchequer, with our taxpayers' money, for which, after doing all this capacity building, the president himself has to clean the gutters? Where are we? These are the facts of the case. They say, we are building Tamale Airport. We are building, yes, Tamale has to have an airport. Of course, it would be great if Tamale had something else, apart from just the Hajj, for which, if you look at the, because you see, Mole has also got an airstrip, so you can turn that place to the place of magic. It can create income. I know Mole National Park. I've been on several locations. It's got fantastic resource that can turn Mole into the #1 in West Africa. Because we've got 4 of the big 5. Only the rhino is not in there. And you see, the people who are there are all being paid to come and say, yeah, you're to the president. And then they say, tomorrow we'll do this. Now the budget has delayed. The doom saw has delayed. The water even is not going to come anymore. But we still have to pay the bills. Prices are not going down. The CD is falling against the dollar. Prices are still not going down. So the question you want to ask yourself is that after all said and done, we come back here and come and ask the same question. So after the IMF and everything, what again? Will this particular IMF solution be the manner of all solutions?
Yeah. And Naziru, the conditions that the IMF have, the possibility of the conditions they will put on the table, like we already started discussing in the media, cutting of jobs and salaries and stuff like that. There was something that this morning I updated myself with a statement that they are requesting that we put a freeze on public wage. And can you let us into the conditions, or they haven't gotten there yet, or if they have, what have they said so far? Like he was saying, at least if we updated daily, we would be much more relaxed.
Thank you. Play that role of updating us every day and then to attack the central government and the president. If we have members of parliament who would have all these issues laid to them for their approval before the country can move forward, and we all have members of parliament in the constituencies we come from, are we going to ask them? Are we push them? We rather go to them to tell them to pay our school fees. We rather go to them to tell them to pay for the cost of our funerals and naming ceremonies, when the real job for them to do, we are not pushing them, and we who are supposed to know are not educating the people to hold people to the tax we have given them to do, and then we go to attack the central government. We are doing the country a disservice. Now let us come to the issue that we are talking about today, that the possibility of job cuts and other things will be there, and the price hike in our utilities. Let us ask ourselves, all that we are talking about, is the government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama something about or not? I have stated earlier that this is the government that has been very good and damning the effect of elections, damning whatever would happen after election, damning the fact that people would have different view about him when it comes to election. Goes ahead to say that, look, this is what we have to do. Let us pay the realistic price if we think we love Ghana and we want Ghana to progress. And the good people of Ghana understands and are paying. So the issue of we saying that the money that to pay in terms of our utilities and energy would go high as a result of our negotiation with them. It's not the end of that. It's part of our ongoing solution. If we have a problem, we must find solution to the problem. And one of the problems is that we don't continue putting a lot of burden on the government as a result of the fact that we expect him to subsidize. When you talk about, let me go ahead. If you talk about job cuts, I think this government has been very clear and has indicated that I want to find ways of sustaining the single span salary structure. Like I said earlier, we are not thinking of cutting the single span salary structure. However, we have noticed that by our plans and the measures we've put in place, have realized that, look, the issue of, like you have indicated earlier in our pay list, it is very high, it is very alarming. If we're able to work at reducing the ghost name or clearing them outrightly, we might not be having ourselves going to talk about job cuts, because it is the same thing. We are paying more for people who are not working. So if we can get those who are not working and we stop paying them, we don't need to get people who are working out of their job. And that is exactly what we are doing. And we are doing that very well. In 2013 alone, I remember that over 3,000 to 4,000 ghost names was cleared from our payroll. And this is very significant. And this is very significant. Or should we agree that yes, indeed, the single span salary structure is eating into our internally generated fund, and we're able to clear all these ghost names? Would it go to affect somebody who is really working and is at his desk? No, it won't. And this is what the government is doing, and that's why the government is confident about the fact that forget the issue of people and job cuts, because we have problem in that sector. What we are doing is to work to see and find out the Muslims and monies that are not supposed to go to people's pocket, going to their pocket. If we are able to work on that, and I think the integrated financial management system is one of the areas that the government is using to get all these things under control. One thing is also
the Ghana integrated management. Is it a gift miss?
No, this is the Ghana integrated financial management system.
Financial management.
Yes. And
the minister talked about it the other time, but is it working effective?
Greatly. And how are we finding the ghost names? How are we becoming to realize that, look, continue to say that we will need the resources and to teach in terms of net, and we will pay while they are in school. We need more people, because or as a result of that payment, we continue to pay them. Why not withdraw the payment, give them other subsidies, and then they go to school? Today, record about 30 to 40% increment in the movement of people in the education. That is, this is what problems that bedevil this country, and it's almost becoming cyclical. After every 10 years, we get into such problems. Let us stop it once and for all, and that is what we are doing. Damning the consequences with a government that will put in place mechanisms that will make it difficult for any president or any party who comes to power to shun that and adapt something else that will get the same problem. Go to opposition. I will prefer that.
We are putting in structures with the statistics issue that was mentioned, problem with the way people present therefore, without going through procedures, we place this gift mix to make sure that people go to gift mix before anything, any payment made from the made by the Ministry of Finance, which they're hoping that at the end of the day it will help and solve some of this. But to what extent can it clear all these loopholes and make sure that the wastage is actually to 0%?
What is doing now here today? I think that one of his major, what do you call it, high marks, that working, working to make sure we plug all the loopholes. We are fine, because if we take the contract, they sit down and say that, look, let want to do so that it doesn't become do this. Sometimes just, and this we want to stop it by properly instituting the infrastructure fund. Now, if you ask me, how are we going to find ways to plug the loopholes as a result of the gift mix? This is very clear. Now, we are sitting in this office, and we know that we have 5 people. We have 5 desks. I know for sure some people in the immigration service, where you get to an office within the major cities, and you find about 50 people in the office with 16 desks. How can the rest work in that same office? So then there is a need for redeployment. If you go into such institution, you realize that there has been mass and appropriate transfers for people to they are needed, and not lumped in one place where their services are not needed. All these are the gift mix and what we are doing to ensure that sanity prevails.
Is gift mix only for finance ministry, or we're putting it across to all the MMDAs?
To all the MMDAs. Okay. To all the MMDAs. Right. We are doing head count as we speak now. If you go to the NAGRAT, we are doing proper head count of every teacher as part of the gift mix.
Which is why we are actually taking some of them out, right?
Which some of them who are not there and are taking the money.
Okay.
You see, what is amazing? Okay. What is amazing is the fact that we currently have even got on the tables a budgetary allocation for a new NIA statistic. It's all about statistics, knowing who is who. You see, one thing also that Dr. Ndom pointed out, which all governments have talked about, is the election, bringing power to the doorstep, is the election of DCs. Because with the local authorities, the local government system, the DC is elected merit. So that in Accra, if we know, looking around Accra, that a man lives in this Accra, has got a business, he's running his business efficiently, the way he's working, because you go to the mayor of London, those people are businessmen. Mayor Bloomberg of New York is a businessman. He employs people. He knows how to, so you let the man.
Point is made, but you also know that it's in the constitution that we have to make certain changes.
Right? We have to.
Yeah.
You see, and until we make those changes, where the district assembly, aided by an independent person, is not solve the issue. That's why the DC man knows he cannot influence, the PP man knows he cannot influence. The man is, you see, one major problem I keep seeing is that we are mixing the democracy with our traditional system.
I didn't see any major problem with the current DCs as they are. I suppose people can find a place in the will go a long way to end.
Yeah.
But as it is now currently,
it's not that bad. Is that what you're saying?
It's not that bad. Why? Because if from the pool of 4 people, it goes back to the. Well, that's why people have been appointed but not made up of only NDC. It's neither not made up of only MPP. It is a collective thing. That's their. But the confirmation by the
information. My old man was an NDC, DC for 7 solid years, so I know that the assembly, the DCEs, go in there primarily to implement government manifesto promises.
Of course.
You see, and that might not be the need of the people.
No.
If the people in there need toilet facilities to assist the nation, the country to get rid of the faith, the DC is thinking about the president's manifesto. He made about building a school, and so at the end of the day, all when the common fund or whatever is supposed to be, not common fund for MPs, but when the government statutory allocations come, they go in special projects. When the people, you see, it comes like the
same thing or arguing the same thing.
What happens? You see, there's a problem when you have an assembly that has got NDC, DC, and an MPP, MP. You keep having problems. As I speak to you right now, the DC of Hantawers, Duffy and the MP, they're both from the NDC. They are fighting seriously because people and the DC also has to satisfy his government. And so there's friction in the place and doesn't make development go on. These are some of the things that we should allow.
This is what have at least fair knowledge about government to educate. Because if you go there and the MP is fighting the DC because he also must be seen as that would even know the people. Instead of going to make laws, instead of coming to his community to tell them that the government is going, this is the paper they laid before us. What are your opinion? Should we go ahead to in favor of those who against it and vote according to what the people tell them? Then we are making a great disservice to the people.
You see, everybody wants to see.
Yes,
everybody wants to see. People are not actually doing it.
This is the perception
people want to be seen.
But what's the possibility that when we vote for them, all these things that you're saying will stop?
Like I'm saying, you see, people should realize that they're not voting for them, voting for themselves. When I'm going in the national, I'm going to vote for myself. It is time for us that we don't go vote for somebody because it's off. But it's just simply because we need a man who can make our roads work, who can soiling, who can make trees come down.
Give me a few minutes. I'll come back to the soiling of the beaches. Somebody's asking Annie why. I don't know why you're asking me why. News. You need news. Please go come by. Okay. Okay. This is from Junior. You're doing campaign. You always do campaign. It says that the only let me read from here. Is the best party ever in Ghana. Greeting to Mr. Augustus Nana Kwesi and aspiring regional NDC vice chairman and TK Brahma, who is also something.
Is he not doing campaign?
You are doing campaign. I'm sorry, but okay, this one. Okay, let me read one from on Facebook. Let me read this and read it on Facebook. Chance also says that the value of love will be stronger than the value of hate. Is torn to peace by trade. Great to raise the country's leaders are proving that they hate us more than love us. From so I won't read everything. We just have this opportunity to give you this as we have to touch on Ghana's of helping other countries to actually contain Ebola or eradicate or whatever that we're doing when we're battling with the situation of where we're going here. start off with Nazio.
Yeah,
Why do we have to take more responsibilities when the little we haven't been able to clear it?
And how are we taking more responsibility? The UN and Ghana and bring its own technocrats, pay its own technocrats. All that they need is a that is threatening world economy. That is the Ebola. How this is not all that the government of Ghana did is to ensure that look, this is an enabling environment and a government in the West African sub-region would like to see it completely eradicated. If I'm giving you my platform to do that, without anything to at the end of the whole secretariat will certainly have people who within the UN representative made the need for them to have yes, who are from within the sub-region.
Directly with the disease or
and for that matter have lower risk. Like Uganda, and we wait that it comes to us. Us will not do anything to help. Then the whole country or the whole region is engulfed in this Ebola.
So it's the best decision we took to help, to take make Ghana the hub to receive the resources that
the technocrats made it clear that what they are going to do is to ensure to give technical advice.
Members of parliament from the minority, were criticizing that it increases the risk.
And that is why I'm saying, you see,
being infected.
If you're talking from the minority, then we can zero it down to MPP. I want to hear the MPP officially make statement. Let us not be answering things to throw fears into the minds of Ghana just because we want to score political points. No, let the MPP officially come out to tell us that they think that this is their position on this matter. Then we can pick it from there. Because these are the same people who told former President late that is he not talking about Cote d'Ivoire? And when President Mills said, my own sabotaging the the West African cooperation, and that's this is a president who is also doing something, and they are saying that it is going to increase risk, and that don't we have obligation as people who are our friends? Don't we have obligation?
I think that the main fear some Ghanaians is that people who are who are working with patients
by the UN.
Yes, that of course they're going to be wearing safety suits and so on. But of course they'll be going to Liberia and
people here are not going to Sierra Leone directly
with the patients.
Yeah, but they'll be going to Sierra Leone and come.
They are technocrats.
Yeah, but if I could just you see, okay, fine. The day, vaccines. If there are any vaccines, because I heard recently in Senegal, a doctor has been using HIV antiretrovirals to treat some patients of our. So that if we could also look into the idea of, while we are getting the expertise coming in, building, maybe the government should insist that as a social responsibility, we should try to set up some kind of an Ebola research lab facility. Maybe at 37 or one of those. Yeah, of course. I mean, if that, or is just going to be another place where people will come dump stuff, go, and then a few jobs for the boys. And
suggest things now.
We just want to see.
What is the Noguchi doing?
But of course, Noguchi is a private entity.
Noguchi shouldn't even wait for us to, because other people who are even embarking on researches are doing it not by government.
Yes, Noguchi is doing it.
Yeah, but if you understand, the idea is that whatever you're talking about expertise and technology, so that we could have those things in this country also, and then use that platform to educate Ghanaians. That of course is a security is tight and everything. Somebody who like when and maybe you know, but at the end of the day, there should be that kind of education that the UN is not bringing in the virus. Because people say, bringing people, the government communication machinery also should be able to go out there to try to explain to people that, oh, Ghana is giving its assistance as a member of the UN and as well as to look at the social. As for political points scoring with diseases there, if Ebola comes, it will catch an NDC man, it will catch an NPP man,
Anyway, Eko, thank you. Alhaji Nazir Mohammed is a member of the government team and communication team, and then Mr. Eko Jones is also a member of the Progressive People's Party. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. What? Propaganda? Ah! You also might. In fact, last I was asking about Sam. He's competing.
The meaning of the word propaganda.
Sam is for PPP is also going to compete.
I don't think we have propaganda.
That is your choice.
Propaganda is.
It's your choice. They have chosen. Why propaganda?
Well, propaganda because
lies that look like the truth.
Whatever you say, I mean, you sat here and you have done a lot of things to sort of campaign. So your argument is skewed. So campaign for Pagos in the PPP. So
I'm not supposed to. You are commenting the president. If I say you are campaigning for the ND, rather far from say that you are propaganda.
Let me make it very clear to you.
I came here to talk about Dr. Ingo, not about
the good things that your government is doing, as against the calculated attempt. Continue propaganda.
So you're also aspiring to be the propaganda secretary for the NDC, yes?
Certainly, deputy propaganda secretary.
And your hopes are high?
Oh, I believe the delegates to us and would take me.
You probably have to learn how to take St. John's advice. He said you have to be afraid of delegates.
Don't worry,
don't worry,
NDC
delegate because the NDC delegates are not money conscious. I mean,
I see. Look at the pot calling the kettle black.
That is a fact.
I'm sure when people see him, they'll think about the pinch of salt.
After the Legon conference of the NPP, what they want to do. Some of them say, I want to be a delegate, an MPP delegate specifically.
Well, their choice anyway, so thank you. We are current propaganda secretary for the NDC and a member of the communication team, Alhaji Nazir Mohammed, and then Eko Jones, also a member of the Progressive People's Party. Which position will you be vying for?
Oh, currently I'm just watching. Maybe I'll go for the presidency. So you see,
I'll come for the secretary. Yeah. My name is Annie Efwang. This has been the first show. Tomorrow I'm back with the first show with some entertainment updates and analysis of the situation. I'll have a lot of guests passing through, so you want to stick by and enjoy the program. Thanks for watching and have a good morning.
Something in my mind. Talk about this must be love. I'm not searching.
Oh God. Serious? What? Why are you trying to shine me? As a Ghanaian, it's my duty to keep women clean. You know that? That's what has artists. I expect Oko Vandapo and his people to be doing this, not me.
An equal responsibility. How do you think the color and the other staffs do?
Oh, Masa.
Look, I am not moving an inch until you come back for that thing.
Okay.
Let us be each other's keeper and keep our city and our nation clean for a healthier Ghana. This message is by kind courtesy of the Ministry of Local Government, Development and Broadcasters Association.
Ghana Festival. Who rules? We celebrate creativity and hard work in the industry. Awards Ghana Festival kicks off on Friday, October with Industry Awards at the Accra International Conference Center. The theater will shape Prime Time Awards. Star Studded and Glamour